Very pleased to be here, and I am delighted to represent the Republic of Kosovo in this fourth summit of the European political community. Even a greater pleasure to be in the United Kingdom, a country with which we're celebrating 25 years of an excellent relationship since the British forces entered our capital city to liberate Kosovo from a genocidal regime. The EPC has always been an excellent platform that gives everyone an equal voice, and each and every one of the countries that you will see here is a founding member of this platform. So even though we're not a member of the European Union, we will have an equal opportunity to express not just concerns, but also ideas on how we can overcome some of the greatest challenges that our continent is facing. As you know, these are not easy times, not the least because of the war in Ukraine, because of Russia's aggression against Ukraine, which is endangering the security architecture of the entire European continent. But at the same time is an excellent opportunity to remind ourselves that there are success stories like the Republic of Kosovo, which have shown that back in 1999, the West had the high ground, and Kosovo is the proof. And now the West once again has the high ground, and Ukraine tomorrow will be the proof. It's very important that we stand united in defending the values of democracies from the malign forces such as Russia, but as important it is to fight against Russian proxies, because they are as dangerous as Russia and Putin himself.
Is this an opportunity to reset relations with the UK?
As you know, the Labour Party was the party that led, together with the United States and other democratic forces at that time, and of course on behalf of the UK, that led the NATO intervention to save our lives. And of course, many of the people that we will be meeting today had a great contribution, gave a great contribution to make sure that today Kosovo is not only free, sovereign and independent, but also it's an embodiment, an excellent example of democracy. And it really shows what democracies can achieve when they stand together, unified, and they make sure that they are in the front line against tyrannies and genocidal regimes. And I believe that despite of the pessimism that sometimes we hear in these kind of summits, today is going to be a day where we will hear a lot of optimistic stories. And Kosovo, and this relationship that we have with the United Kingdom, is truly an embodiment of such great example and of such success story, which we need to tell over and over again, especially in the sight of Russia's constant propaganda that NATO does not deliver, that the West does not deliver, that democracies do not deliver. Kosovo is an example that it does. When we do stand united on the values that are the very foundation of our countries, we of course are once again inspired by such examples, and I think it's going to be important to make sure that we stand together to also defend these success stories, but also take them as an example on the challenges that we're facing today.
Concerned about Donald Trump presidency and his commitment to Ukraine?
Of course, who will be the next president of the United States does affect also relations with the rest of the world. However, that is a decision for the people of the United States to make. Kosovo has been blessed to always have the bipartisan support of the United States of America. We became free during a Democratic president, but we became independent during a Republican president. And in every administration, we had the outstanding support of the United States of America. Let's not forget that U.S. soldiers alongside UK soldiers are helping us defend our country. They are putting their lives on the line together with our own soldiers, and we will always have this great gratitude towards these contributing countries. And the United States, of course, has led the world into making sure that we defend freedom and liberty and democracy, and we will continue to stand together with the United States and the United Kingdom, of course, and the European Union in making sure that Kosovo remains a success story. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
hoping to achieve today?
The priorities for the summit.
I have no big expectations, just hope that we'll be able to discuss all the issues sincerely in a compelling way, and that we'll act in a rational way in the future, and also to discuss European path for all of us that are still not part of European Union. That's it. What? Ask me again, please.
Will you be discussing the issues between Serbia and Kosovo with the President?
We, as you know, we have a dialogue between Serbia and Pristina under the auspices of European Union in Brussels, and there has been no such plans, but I'm always ready for any kind of conversations and discussions. Thanks a lot.
I'm happy to have this platform, to have a dialogue. Thanks.
Promoting my country, interest of my country, joining EU, regional priorities. That's it, more or less. Thank you so much.
Good morning. The European political community is an opportunity for the EU countries and non-EU countries to talk about common problems. Our biggest problem is the Russian aggression in Ukraine, and we will be discussing how to better help Ukraine. Moldova shares a 1,200 kilometers border with Ukraine, and our priority is to strengthen our resilience and stability. We have a meeting planned with the leaders of UK, France, Germany, Romania, Poland, and the European Council to talk about the issues of Moldova's resilience and stability. I'm also co-chairing with President Macron one of the working groups on defending democracies. Moldova is on the front line of defending its democracy, and we will be talking about the fact that democracies around the world and on the continent are under attack. But the fact that we're here today at this summit means that Europe is united and is committed to working together, including on these issues. Excuse me?
Are you worried about the prospect of another Donald Trump presidency?
We will continue to work no matter who is going to be the leader of US. US has been helping Moldova over the last 3 decades to strengthen its institutions and democratic processes, and we hope that we will be able to count on this support from now on.
What's your message to Keir Starmer? What would you like him to say at the summit about the UK's role?
We do have very good relations with UK, and we hope to continue this cooperation with the new government. I'm sure that we will continue our cooperation. We have good cooperation on security and defense. We're interested in deepening our cooperation on the economic field, but otherwise UK is a very important player in our common fight for defending democracy, and especially in helping Ukraine, and we're very grateful to UK and to all the countries which continue to provide support to Ukraine. Thank you.
Does Europe need a new deal on migration?
Excuse me?
Does Europe need a new deal on migration?
This is an issue for some of the countries, and I know that there is a working group on that, and there is going to be a discussion on that. Moldova is participating in the discussion on defending democracy because this is a big issue for us. Thank you.
How difficult is it
Morning. Hello. First of all, good day. Great to be in Blenheim at the 4th European Political Community Summit. The fact that the United Kingdom is hosting this summit after the elections is a very welcome development. I think it's an opportunity for our hosts to reach out a little bit more towards the European partners, especially the European Union. And I think that today's topics, which were carefully chosen, and that is the security, migration, energy, democracy, interference in democratic processes, is useful for all of us. And I think for Croatia in particular, we shall be putting an accent to the energy aspect, to connectivity, where we can contribute to the energy security and independence of ourselves and also of the countries surrounding us.
Is this an opportunity to reset relations between Europe and the UK?
Well, it's going to be a long process. I was personally very much opposing the whole Brexit story. I think it was a strategic mistake for the United Kingdom. Now the things are done, and it's very good that my friend Eddie is here as well, and that we are in the position to maybe rethink how the relationships, both in political terms and also in economic terms, can be rearranged and restructured.
What about migration? Is there a deal to be done on migration?
Migration is one of the most important topics for Europe, for the whole continent. There has been no other issue that has completely altered the balance of the political spectrum in many of the member states over the past 7 or 8 years. No other developments such as the illegal migration crisis of 2015 and 16 has left. So we are in the position to discuss how we can strengthen the fight against smugglers and the illegal migrations and stop these flows that destabilize Europe.
Ja, premijeru, za hrvatske medije samo.
Može.
Hrvatska sudjeluje na okruglom stolu vezano za energiju. Koje će biti vaše poruke i što očekujete od te diskusije?
Pa mislim prije svega da je dobro da smo danas u Ujedinjenoj Kraljevini, da novi premijer Keir Starmer ima priliku da razgovara kao domaćin sa praktički liderima cijele Europe, proširene Europe, zato se i zove ovaj format Europska politička zajednica. i da na neki način prvo vidimo kako će ovaj sastanak malo utjecati na novu volju koju očito vidimo u Londonu, da malo dinamizira i restrukturira odnose sa Europskom unijom. To je prva poruka. Druga je sve ove 4 teme, i sigurnost, i nezakonite migracije, i energetska suradnja, povezivost i demokracija, isto tako i utjecaj koji se odnose na uplitanje u demokratske procese nekih stranih sila su teme za sve nas. Sve se događa uvijek u ovom kontekstu ruske agresije na Ukrajinu, što će ponovo biti glavna tema. Stabilnost cijeloga kontinenta zbog ilegalnih migracija i energetska sigurnost. Hrvatska je tu u poziciji da bude ozbiljno regionalno čvorište i zahvaljujući svom LNG terminalu, ogromnim investicijama u nove proširene plinovode koji će biti prilagođeni za transport vodika, kao i korištenje jadranskog naftovoda, a povezanost nas sa našim susjednim zemljama i naši kapaciteti na Krku sada nam daju ogromnu priliku da u tom novom izmijenjenom kontekstu energetske povezanosti Hrvatska igra bitno značajniju ulogu.
Energetski sektor je jedan od onih u kojem također Rusija interferira i nastoji utjecati. Koliko ovakav skup može pridonijeti jačanju zajedništva i smanjenju takvih opasnosti?
Pa mislim da da, to je najvažnije. Dakle, praktički smo se mi već svi prilagodili i nekako reorijentirali na nove, možemo reći, pravce nabave energenata, i to se vidi i u Hrvatskoj, vidi se i u drugim zemljama. Ta ovisnost o ruskom plinu je smanjena. Mi smo sa strateškom investicijom u LNG terminal na Krku okončali 4 desetljeća rasprave u hrvatskom energetskom sektoru i potpuno učinili Hrvatsku neovisnom za sve naše potrebe. To je 2,8 milijardi kubika plina godišnje za kućanstva, za gospodarstvo i za industriju, a na ovaj način s proširenim kapacitetima koji su u punoj funkciji 2026. smo u poziciji da budemo oni koji osiguravaju energetsku sigurnost i susjedima. Hvala lijepo.
Well, absolutely. I think that's one thing which is of concern for everybody in Europe. What more can Europe do to tackle it? Well, first of all, to discuss and to fight it. I think not really. So let's see what's going to be happening in the future. But obviously, we also need to be open to all those people who are willing to come to Europe, in hope for a better life, in a hope, from escaping from different regimes across the world. So I think that Europe is today probably the best place to live in this world. I think this is also sort of
Good morning.
I think this is going to be part of the priority today as well. On top of it, false information, hybrid threats, that's another very important. This is why we are today going to be also having members of the NATO community together with us. I think especially the increase of hybrid threats following the Russian aggression in Ukraine has increased. This is what we have seen in Montenegro. The country has faced a severe hybrid threat in 2022. Now we are obviously tackling it, but this is definitely an issue. And naturally, the third one is connectivity. Europe, as a continent, needs to do much more in order to become more resilient in terms of energy as well as transport infrastructure. And that's it. Thank you very much. what can be achieved from the summit today?
Just give me a second. First of all, let me express my satisfaction at being at this wonderful location, and as this is the first international venue organized by the new UK Prime Minister. Let me wish Sir Keir best of luck, and I do hope that he will work towards a more constructive relationship between the United Kingdom and the European Union. As we meet here today, a very important vote is taking place in Strasbourg, and I do hope that Ursula von der Leyen will be reconfirmed as the President of the European Commission. I think it's important in these challenging times to have continuity, stability and experience at the helm of the European Commission. And the agenda that she has presented regarding the priorities of the European Union, topics related to competitiveness, common European defense, protecting our European way of life, addressing issues of migration, are also important topics that will be discussed today at the European political community, because these are topics which are relevant for all European countries. One final point. In 2 days from today, July 20th will mark the 50th anniversary of the Turkish invasion of Cyprus, which has resulted in the occupation of a third of the island. It is the last divided European territory. And I would hope that this issue will be finally resolved, and that the discussions between the two communities resume under the auspices of the United Nations, always in line with the Security Council resolutions that define the possible solution to this long-standing problem.
What needs to happen on migration?
Excuse me?
What needs to happen on the issue of migration?
Well, as you know, the European Union has been focused much more on the question of protecting the external borders of the Union. I think this is the right priority. We have legislated, as you know, the European Pact on Asylum and Migration, which is a significant progress in terms of addressing this problem at the European level. But of course, we also need to work with the countries of origin, with the countries of transit, in order to reduce illegal migration and focus more on legal pathways to migration. Greece, for example, has worked constructively with Turkey in order to ensure that it is not the smugglers who decide who will enter the European Union, but the sovereign states who have the ultimate responsibility for making these decisions. Thank you.
Prime Minister, quick word from the BBC. How easy will it be to come to a new view of European migration? Migration in the next few months?
Let's see.
What would you want from that?
Let's see. I think there's a lot to discuss. Thank you.
Well, there's a number of topics dependent on each country. We, from Slovenia, we will be co-chairing the energy work table, so I'm more focused on that. But apart from that, is also security agreements that we have with Ukraine and so forth. So it depends on the country. So, yeah.
Is this an opportunity to reset relations between Europe and the UK?
Absolutely so, especially after the elections. There are high hopes within Europe. Depends on the country again, but yes, if you ask for Slovenia, absolutely yes. And we also have a bilateral meeting with your Prime Minister today. So we were looking forward to re-establish or reconnect, as you said. Absolutely.
What about the issue of migration? What more does Europe need to do to tackle that issue?
One of the topics that we are going to touch upon today is the memorandum of understanding regarding security, police cooperation between the two countries of Slovenia and UK. So I think that's the right direction. Not tackling the migration by itself, but start with the illegal, not migrants, but illegal, let's call them smugglers, and to foster the cooperation between the two police forces and start working from there. And I think that will lead to the results that we want to achieve.
Are you worried about the prospects of a Trump presidency and whether Europe can stand together and support Ukraine under a Trump presidency?
Well, I wouldn't go that far. I think no matter what the result of the elections in the US is going to be, we will have to find ways to cooperate with them. So, but apart from that, being united, that's really what makes Europe, not just EU, but Europe in general, more stronger. So I believe that's really the way forward, always, being united. With UK, even more so.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Prime Minister, a quick word with the BBC. What are you hoping for from the new government in the UK?
Well, the hopes are quite high within the European Union, also in Slovenia, so we're looking for reconnecting on a certain level, find more common ground on both European issues, but also cooperation in other areas.
Liberals, Social Democrats and Conservatives, so I think that we have a positive vote in favor of Ursula von der Leyen. As Prime Minister of Spain, I can tell you that we have been working with her and with the former Commission quite well. Regarding the meeting today, I think it's important, first of all, that we convene these kind of meetings. The topics that we will discuss are quite important for our citizens. Migration, of course, Ukraine, the support to Volodymyr Zelensky and Ukraine regarding the war, and of course the further steps on the peace talks. And finally, all this debate that we're facing, the Western democracies, which is disinformation and fake news. I will be very active in this roundtable on disinformation. So I think that we will have very important topics to talk about, to discuss, and topics that are quite important for our citizens. So I think it's a quite important meeting, and of course I'm looking forward to have my first bilateral meeting with the new Prime Minister Starmer. No. I mean, besides, of course, we have a closer ideological approaches to politics. We've been, very close and very collaborative and cooperative with the the previous administration and looking forward to have the best one with the new administration.
Will you be discussing the recognizing Palestinian state with the other members?
No, I think it's not in the topics that we will discuss. Of course, we will speak about Ukraine, and regarding Palestine, I think that from Spain we've been so far quite clear in our political position. I think it's important that we stop this war, that we reach an agreement to the release of the hostages, and of course to open the borders for the humanitarian aid, and to give a political horizon to the Palestine people with this peace conference, the International Peace Conference, and the recognition of the State of Palestine. Thank you very much.
Prime Minister, quick word with the BBC. We're hopeful for a closer relationship.
Mr. Michel, what do you expect to achieve at this summit?
Hello. Good morning, everyone. This is good that we have this meeting here in the United Kingdom. We face extraordinary difficult challenges in Europe and all across the world. We need more security, more stability. We need more prosperity, and for that it is good that leaders can talk to each other, that we can see how we can strengthen the ties, how we can strengthen the level of ambition, and how we can cooperate much more together.
Are you looking forward to closer ties with the UK under this government?
We are confident that a new chapter could be opened with the UK, and we can see on Ukraine, we can see on many global challenges that we stand together, and if it's possible in the near future to make our cooperation stronger, more ambitious, this is good. On the EU side, we are ready to cooperate much more with the United Kingdom.
Do you want to make a deal on migration with the UK? Do you want the UK to join?
I'm convinced that in all fields, including migration, we can see how we can deepen the ties, how we can coordinate much more together. Migration is not only a challenge for the United Kingdom and for the European Union. It's a broad challenge, it's a global challenge at the world's level, and we'll have the occasion today to address this topic as well.
What do you expect
Thank you.
from Armenia-Azerbaijan peace talks? Reference to territorial claims from Azerbaijan from Armenia.
This is good that in recent months we have seen the possibility for direct bilateral contact between Azerbaijan and Armenia, and you know that I try to do my best on behalf of the EU to help, to facilitate the direct dialogue between Azerbaijan and Armenia.
President Michel, what does a new government in the UK mean for relations with the European Union?
We hope that a new chapter could be opened, and on the EU side we are ready to strengthen our ties with the United Kingdom. And we have seen, for instance, on Ukraine, that we are very close, that we cooperate a lot, that we coordinate a lot, and I'm certain that there are so many double challenges that it is good that those who share the same values, the same principles, can work closely together to overcome the challenges and to overcome the difficulties.
Are you ready to do more deals with the UK for a closer relationship?
On our side, no. The Brexit was a choice made by the British citizens and made by the previous government in the United Kingdom. No, Brexit is a fact, but we are ready to cooperate and to work much more with the United Kingdom. And I can tell you, when we are together in the G20, the G7, in many multilateral forums, very spontaneously, we have similar feelings on many double challenges.
Just finally, how worried are you about the prospect of another Trump presidency and what that might mean for Ukraine's security side?
What is certain, I can talk on behalf of the EU and on the EU side, we are determined to support Ukraine for as long as it takes, because we understand it's not only to support Ukraine, it's also a matter of security on the European continent. And that's why we are convinced that we will find a lot of partners all across the world.
What are you happy to achieve
Share
today?
the same values. We are ready to support Ukraine in the long run. And the American voters will have to make a choice, and we will work with the equipment which will be chosen by the American voters.
Is it normal for a country to have
Well, very good opportunity to discuss many issues, but of course the issue of the war in Ukraine is overshadowing all the other issues. And I just returned from the NATO summit in Washington, and we took quite important decisions regarding the support to Ukraine and strengthening of the eastern flank of NATO. But I think the problem is not the decision making. The problem is that we are not able to deliver. We take the decisions, but unfortunately the deliveries come much later, and this is a problem. Ukraine badly needs ammunition and air defense systems right now. And this is the reason why we should support Ukraine more if we really want Ukraine wins this war.
Are you worried about the prospect of a second Donald Trump presidency?
Well, I had the experience to communicate and to deal with President Donald Trump in previous term in office, and I have to say that we took some very important decisions within NATO to strengthen the alliance and to improve our coordination between the allies. So I really look forward to bring the arguments why U.S. presence in Europe, U.S. presence in Baltic region is the best deterrence against the aggression of Russia. And I think it contributes to the stability of the whole region. So my task, and I think the task of my colleagues, will be to convince, if it will be the new administration in the United States, to continue this policy of transatlantic bond, because it's very important for the security of Europe, and Europe is well aware of that.
What can the UK and Europe do to deliver more effectively for Ukraine?
Well, I know about the decisions which were recently taken in United Kingdom. I welcome them very much. And I think the decision to provide the military support, financial support to Ukraine, if I remember correctly, 3 billion British pounds, is sufficient. But again, I am talking about the commitment not only to take the decisions, but to deliver. Lithuania is not a very big country, but we already provided 1.2 billion euro support to Ukraine, cumulative support to Ukraine, which actually means about 2% of our GDP. And we are committed to deliver 0.25% of our GDP each year annually as a support to Ukraine. So I think other countries should follow this example, and of course they can do even more, especially the countries which have very strong defense industries, can produce the military equipment. And I have to say that Russia is really concentrating the efforts to produce as much as possible. And this is a problem. They outpace our production capabilities, even if we are in one team. Russia produces more than we all united. And this is the problem. We have to increase our capabilities to work closely with our partners, especially like-minded countries, and support Ukraine more decisively. Thank you so much.
I think the most important thing, as it is for all international gatherings, including the one today, is of course our strong support for Ukraine and all our efforts to ensure peace on our own continent.
What can Europe do to more effectively help Ukraine?
To be very honest, a lot. It's all a question about delivering. And they need air defense, they need more ammunition, they need less restrictions on the weapons delivered by allies and friends like Denmark. And they, if you ask me, they need the possibility to not only to defend themselves but to push Russia back.
Are you looking forward to working more closely with the UK?
Yes, I am, and we have always had a close cooperation, but I look forward to know the new government. Thank you.
Well, first of all, I would like to thank Prime Minister Starmer for organizing this European political community. I think it's an important moment for us European countries to convene and to talk with the new British government. Obviously, a lot of topics to talk about: improving, deepening the relationship between the United Kingdom and the other European countries. We have a lot of things to discuss about migration, about energy, about improving our trading relationships, and also related to the rest of the world. We see that this is a moment where a lot of discussions take place, for example, in the United States, which are internal political discussions, but obviously which could have an impact on the security in Europe. So a very fitting moment to talk. To me, the conclusion is that the European Union and European countries should stand on their own legs more than ever. But that conclusion we already made a few months ago. But this is a moment to make it happen.
Are you hoping to persuade the UK government to join some existing European deals on migration and other topics?
That's one of the things we will discuss today. I think what is important is that the agreements that we already have made post-Brexit, that those are being implemented in its totality. The trade and cooperation agreement, the Windsor framework, and so on. That's a good basis. Let's put that completely into practice and do it the way it was intended. And then, of course, in parallel, we can discuss other topics. But that's really two things that we need to do in parallel, and both need to happen. Good? Thank you.
Mr. Prime Minister, is there a new deal to be done with the UK on migration?
Well, let's do two things in parallel. First of all, we have the post-Brexit agreements that need to be implemented in its entirety and philosophically the way it was intended. The Windsor framework, the PCA, and so on. And of course, we are open in parallel to discuss everything to migration, but also related to trade and to services. Countries like Belgium, the Netherlands, Ireland, those were the ones who were most heavily impacted by the Brexit. And let's see how we can improve our trading relationships in the next months. We see here a new British government which is more open to but let's also do what we already have in the case.
Do you expect Keir Starmer to negotiate a closer deal with you?
Well, as I said, let's implement what we agreed on, and let's implement it in a faithful way the way it was intended, and there are definitely those steps forward to be made. But if there is an openness, for example, to talk about migration, but also, for example, additional links on the energy side, we would be open to discuss that. But that needs to be in a broad approach and not in some kind of cherry picking.
How worried is Europe about the prospect of US to do something?
Well, we see that there is an internal political debate taking place in the United States. Obviously, we follow that closely because it could have an impact on Europe and on the security of our population. But there is only one conclusion, and that conclusion is that the European Union and European countries will have to stand more firmly on their own legs. Now, that conclusion we have made already a year ago, not now, but I think the debate we see in the United States today confirms that. In any case, whoever wins, it will be more America first. And the only conclusion should be we need to have Europe standing on its own legs more firmly.
Are you nervous about the prospect of accepting Trump presidency?
No, not really. I mean, it's a choice that the American people will have to make. And whoever wins, we European countries and the European Union will have to stand more on their own legs. And that process has been going on now for more than a year, with increasing our defense spending, with increasing our unity in political positions. And this European political community meeting taking place here is part of a process that already has started for a long time. But I think the debate you see in the United States today confirms
the analysis that the European countries have made already more than a year ago.
What final question for me?
One moment, I'll get you.
Do you think the relationship with the UK will be easier now that there's a new government?
Well, there is potential.
What are expectations for COP29?
That we continue the path that has been taken, that we don't question the objectives, but that we look on how do we realize the objectives. A lot of the work has been done in now we need to help our population, help our industry in achieving it. We will only realize the objectives if our industry is part of it. Yes, please. Well, I think she's delivering her speech now in European Parliament. There was a broad majority in the European Council proposing her as for a second term. It will be up to the members of Parliament to decide. But obviously we support him. The Council we supported her, and I hope that the European Parliament will be convinced by the plan she's had. I think she's an excellent president in her first term, and I would be looking forward to continue working together. Yes, I think the proposal that has been made by the European Council responds on the quality of the persons and on the balances as we need. So it would be a good thing if that is being followed by the European Parliament. But that's really up to the members of the European Parliament to make that choice. Thank you. Yes, please.
So, good morning. It's great to be back in the United Kingdom, and I look forward to attending the meeting of the European political community. NATO is, of course, a transatlantic alliance, but as you all know, this transatlantic alliance is the cornerstone for European security. So therefore it makes absolutely sense that NATO is part of this community. The place the time to stand for freedom and democracy is now, and the place is Ukraine. And NATO allies are stepping up our support to Ukraine. We have agreed to establish a command to coordinate and provide security assistance and training for Ukraine. And I'm glad that today I can announce that the command will be operational in September. It will be 700 personnel in Germany, with a 3-star general as the commander, and it will provide the support and the security assistance to Ukraine and coordinate the efforts of NATO allies. Today we will also discuss how to defend our democracies, both from external threats but also from internal threats. And we have seen a pattern of Russian hostile actions against NATO allies with cyber attacks, sabotage, disinformation over the last months. And allies are taking measures against these hostile actions, both individually and collectively, with more intelligence sharing, with increased awareness, with stepping up the protection of our critical infrastructure, including undersea infrastructure. We have established a new center to protect critical infrastructure here in the United Kingdom, and allies are also taking actions individually with legal processes, arrests across the alliance. The purpose of Russia's hostile actions, cyber attacks, sabotage against NATO allies, is to coerce us from providing support to Ukraine. But we will not be coerced. We will continue to support Ukraine. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Köszönöm. I speak a language which you don't understand, sorry for that. Jól állunk, hát haladunk vele. Nem egyszerű, látja, van szembeszél. De egyelőre minden lépést megtettünk a tervek szerint. Ugye a mi koncepciónk lényege, ami eltér a hivatalos koncepciótól, hogy az Európai Uniónak nem az amerikai demokraták külpolitikáját kéne másolni, hanem egy stratégiai autonómia, ugye ezt értetjük itt egyfolytában, jegyében egy saját európai megközelítés kellene. Erre nézve tettem néhány javaslatot. Hát haladok lassan, de emésztik. Remélem, hogy a következő lépésekkel előbb juthatok. Yes, please! Yeah, of course, I represent myself. That's called political leadership. Yeah. No, that's the best news I can imagine. Oh, the best news for everybody, because he's the man of the peace, and what we need is peace.
A lot of people think that it would be good news for Russia. Is that right?
No, it's good news for all the global peace-loving people.
What do you think about Georgia's European integration?
Georgia is a wonderful country, doing very well. The government is, I highly appreciate. They try to maintain their independence and sovereignty under a very difficult circumstance. Unfortunately, in Europe, many leaders do not understand how difficult for a country like Georgia to maintain sovereignty to all directions. But what you are doing, I appreciate very much.
On migration, what more can Europe do to tackle the issue of migration?
Don't let them in.
Yes?
Sorry?
Keir Starmer, what do you think of him?
I just met him at the European Championship final. It was only 5 minutes. It's not enough to make any evaluation. But I congratulate him. I hope we will have a good cooperation between Hungary and the UK.
What's your message to Ukraine?
Sorry?
What's your message to Ukraine at this summit?
We are with you. Sorry?
Europe, your other states, prime minister doesn't understand you.
But I try to explain. You know, it's a long walk. It's a long way to go.
Why do you think they don't understand you?
Because they are more pro-war countries. They believe that they can destroy militarily the Russians, which I don't think so, because I think that there is no solution of this conflict on the battlefield. They hope so, but I don't. I don't believe at all. So because I know the Russians, I know the Soviet Union, I know the Ukrainians, I'm belonging to a neighboring country. I know the whole context. It's impossible to find a solution on the battlefield. We will lose every day thousands of innocent people, you know. So to lose the human lives is the most precious thing we can lose. And we do it every day, thousands and thousands. We have to stop it. That's, as a neighboring country, this is my opinion. Solution is not on the battlefield. Solution is on the negotiation table. Ceasefire, negotiation table. That's what I try to convince them. But you know it takes time.
Why are they not doing that, do you think, sir?
They are human beings, you know. Every human being insists on his original idea. It's difficult to shift. But what my job is to convince them to shift from the pro-war policy to a pro-peace policy. Sorry.
First of all, thank you for.
What do you hope to hear at the summit?
Thank you so much. Thanks UK for the invitation, and for us it's very important to be here for Ukraine, especially this period, tough period for us during the war. For us it's very important to maintain unity in Europe, because always this unity leads to strong decisions. And for us it's very important, such strong decisions, I will focus on it, on these decisions, long range, first of all, air defense, energy, and peace summit.
What are you hoping for from the new Prime Minister, Keir Starmer?
We will have meeting. I count on his support, because really UK demonstrated leadership from the very beginning of Russian attacks, and all the strong steps and some not simple steps always UK began. So I count on my meeting. I will have meeting with Prime Minister, and also bilateral one, and also I will have meeting with the government. Thank you so much. I'm sorry.
That was Prime Minister Vladimir Zelensky just arriving here at Blenheim Palace, having a one-on-one meeting with Keir Starmer, and we heard him there. He wants commitment from Europe to help Ukraine, especially of course the intense implications of the fighting there this summer. And the message from the UK, the new government in the UK, is that they will honour all the commitments that this government made in terms of funding over the next year. And of course, the concern is that across the Atlantic, with the
because it doesn't exactly put them individuals in physically.
We were expecting a few more of you on here, you see, so we thought we'd keep it out of your way, but actually it's just yourself in the middle. If we can position that, that's being fed out to all the remote rooms, so that's brilliant, thank you.
I'm going to be standing about, so when I'm around there, would that be all right? So Orban's on the top 10. Plenary, Michelle. Stoltenberg, Tusk. Zelensky's. Where's Zelensky? 23. Oh, Zelensky's right in the middle. You said you did say Zelensky, you said he was on the top 10. Yeah. Where's Stalin, you said?
He's right in the middle.
Is he?
Sam's right in the middle. Zelensky's to the left of him.
Okay.
Danish Prime Minister's to the right.
Your Excellencies, we will begin to move into the opening plenary in 10 minutes. Your Excellencies, we will begin to move into the opening plenary in 10 minutes. The opening plenary will begin in 10 minutes. The session will be screened in the listening room next door. The opening plenary will begin in 10 minutes. The session will be screened in the listening room next door. Your Excellencies, we will begin to move into the opening plenary in 5 minutes. The opening plenary session will begin in 5 minutes. Please make your way to the listening room next door for the screening. Your Plenary room. The session is about to begin. Red overlay holders, please remain in the plenary lounge until called through to the plenary room. The session is about to begin. Your Excellencies, please take your seats. The opening plenary session is about to begin.
across.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Friends, fellow Europeans, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to Britain and to the splendour of Blenheim Palace. I hope you enjoyed the weather, the drive and the architecture of this beautiful place. Thank you so much for being here. It is, of course, the birthplace of Winston Churchill, and we stand for the values that he embodies around the world. Liberty and democracy, yes, of course, but also defiance and resolve in their defence. And today, as a new storm gathers over our continent, we choose to meet it in that same spirit, and we choose to meet it together. And that is the choice of the government that I lead, now 2 weeks old. We want to work with all of you to reset relationships, rediscover our common interest, and renew the bonds of trust and friendship that brighten the fabric of European life. And the task is urgent because our security is on the line. Every day Ukraine fights to protect not just the Ukrainian people, but the European people, a continent where our belief in freedom, democracy and the rule of law was hard won, and that wants to live in peace. So, President Zelensky, in your struggle to uphold those values, we salute you once again. Have no doubt we will stand with you for as long as it takes. Because I was struck by something that you said, in fact, last week during the NATO summit, when you said Ukraine needs more air defence, and then you used these words, before the new school year starts. And that really struck me. Because returning to school after the summer break, that should be a moment of joy, of excitement for children. New uniforms, new exercise books, seeing how much their friends have grown over the summer holidays, and reuniting with friends. How could anyone consider that a target? So, our first task here today is to confirm our steadfast support for Ukraine, to unite once again behind those values that we cherish, and to say we will face down aggression on this continent together. Because the threat from Russia reaches right across Europe. Many of us have seen attacks on our own democracy, people targeted on our streets, military planes entering our airspace, ships patrolling our coastlines, and in Moldova and the Western Balkans, the threat is obviously even more acute. So this is the moment for us all to do more. And I'm proud of Britain's role in maintaining European security through NATO, the Joint Expeditionary Force, and more. We stand together, we guard Europe's frontiers, and now we must find new, more ambitious ways of working together, firing up our industries, meeting not just the military challenge, but the challenge to our economic, cyber and energy security as well. I take a practical view of how the UK can meet this moment. I'm not driven by ideology, but by what's best for my country. And so we will strengthen our existing relationships, and we will build new ones. This includes resetting our relationship with the EU. because I believe that the UK and the EU, working together as sovereign partners, are a powerful force for good across our continent, for peace, for security, for prosperity, for all our people. We've shown this, I think, in the G7, where we are using Russian assets to ensure they pay for the devastation they have brought to Ukraine. We're placing unprecedented sanctions on Russia and reducing our collective dependence on Russian oil and gas. And I think we should take pride in the steps that our continent has taken on this. But now we must see the job through. We must use this moment to accelerate towards clean energy, support Ukraine to meet its energy needs ahead of winter, and tackle the ships that are helping Russia to evade sanctions. We know what we can achieve together, but it's also time that we bring this resolve to another challenge facing our continent: the vile trade of people smuggling. Let's be frank, challenge is the wrong word. It is now, I think, a crisis. As we speak, as we gather here, a criminal empire is at work in every country represented here today, profiting off human misery and desperation, prepared to send infants, babies, pregnant mothers, innocent people to their deaths. And last week, 4 more souls, and actually last night another one, were lost in the waters of the English Channel, a chilling reminder of the human cost of this vile trade. And this summit is an opportunity to set a new path on illegal migration, to transform the way that we work together on border security and law enforcement, and to say together, no more. And in the UK, our new Border Security Command will work in partnership with you. We must combine our resources, share intelligence, share tactics, shut down the smuggling routes, and smash the gangs. Before I came into politics, I was the Director of Public Prosecutions in Britain, a job I held for 5 years, and I saw and participated in the work that can be done across borders on issues like counter-terrorism, sophisticated gangs working across our borders. And we use those same techniques to take those gangs down to ensure the safety of citizens across Europe. And so I, for one, simply do not accept, and will never accept, that we can't do the same with the smuggling gangs, that somehow they're the only gangs that can operate across Europe with impunity. I just never will accept that, having been involved myself in taking down of terrorist gangs. So we must do more together. We must also do more to tackle the problem, of course, at source, to recognise the root causes. We know what they are: conflict, climate change, extreme poverty. The crisis we face is the fault of the gangs, no question. But the decisions people take to leave their homes cannot be separated from the wider issues. It is global inequality, and that deserves our attention as well. So let me say something here very clearly. We are resetting our approach here. This government will not commit taxpayer money to gimmicks. We are here to serve our country in the national interest, in pursuit of solutions that will actually deliver results. And more than that, we will approach this issue with humanity and with a profound respect for international law. And that's why we scrapped the unworkable Rwanda scheme on day one. And it's why we will never withdraw from the European Convention on Human Rights. Churchill himself was among the chief architects of the Convention. It was built on the blood bond of 1945 and our shared sacrifice for freedom. I myself first read about the principles of the Convention and international law in a law library in Leeds, 40 years ago now. And that inspired me in everything that I have done since. And I draw strength from it and value from it every day, because they speak about the dignity of every human being. And that word dignity is there in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, one of the most important words in it, dignity of every human being, the very essence of what it is to be human. And that is our legacy. And so the nations of Europe must lead again today. Together we have the opportunity to make the world safer, fairer and more prosperous. So let's use this moment to do more for Ukraine, defend our democracies, secure our energy supplies and tackle illegal immigration. It is a pleasure today on behalf of my country to extend a hand to all of you, to say that under my leadership, Britain will be a friend and a partner, ready to work with you, not part of the European Union, but very much part of Europe, not focused on the differences between us, but on the values that we share, united by our determination to defend them, and certain about what we can achieve together. And now, I would like to invite a true champion of European freedom to address the plenary, our friend, President Zelensky. Slava Ukraine.
Героям слава. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Prime Minister. Thank you for your kind words about us, about Ukraine, about our fight, and thank you for confirming that relations and cooperation between Ukraine and Britain, as well as between Britain and all of Europe, remains crucial. Dear friends, dear partners, we are now at Blenheim, and indeed this place is associated with Winston Churchill, and however this palace is not solely connected to him. Among many, it is him who we remember with special esteem, and it is he who adds grandeur to Blenheim. We hold dear Churchill's jokes and remarks, though we probably wouldn't want to be the subject of such biting humor. We return to his speeches and measures our own principles against his decisions, aspiring to similar heights. Yet, it was not this that created his legend. It was his ability to be a steadfast barrier between history and cowardice. be brave regardless of threats and blackmail. Their joint efforts are needed for the sake of peace. When the aggressor loses, the world wins. This has happened repeatedly in human history. It must happen this time too to the Russia's aggression. Thank you very much. Thank you for every life saved by your support. Thank you for the invitation, Prime Minister. Slava Ukraini.
Thank you, Vladimir. I would now like to invite the President of the Swiss Confederation, Viola, to address the plenary.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, it is an honor for me to address you all at this fourth gathering of the European political community. Switzerland values the EPC as a space for Europe, defined by geography and based on a common idea of what is Europe. The EPC is valuable as a platform to have open, inclusive and frank discussions about the challenges we face. These challenges are of unprecedented complexity. We need to address them together as Europeans. I thank Prime Minister Starmer for the kind invitation to share my impressions of the Summit on Peace in Ukraine that Switzerland hosted a month ago. With the summit, we aimed to address the most pressing challenge our continent faces. Looking back, I believe it is fair to say that we achieved what we had aspired for. For the first time, voices from all corners of the globe came together at the highest level to talk about how to achieve a just and lasting peace in Ukraine. The Bürgenstock Summit represents the only initiative that enjoys broad support across all continents. More than 100 countries and international organizations joined the discussions. This global support is essential in order to take substantial steps towards a just and lasting peace. Other peace plans don't enjoy the same kind of endorsement. One reason may be that the UN Charter as the central foundation for a future peace is missing in some of those plans. Thanks to this broad support and the concrete propositions we discussed in Switzerland, we managed to lay the foundations for the path towards a potential peace process. I would like to take this opportunity to sincerely thank all of you for your tireless efforts to mobilize for the summit and for your active contributions prior to and during the conference. Your support played a central role in building this foundation and the momentum the summit was able to generate. I thank the UK, the EU, and in particular the staff of the Council Presidency, the Commission and the External Action Service, and also countless others who are present here today for the excellent cooperation. Despite the different points of view that were shared on the Bürgenstock, we managed to agree on a common vision. This vision is summed up in the Bürgenstock communiqué, which has been signed by 87 countries so far. Additional countries continue to sign the communiqué, even some of which were not present at the summit. This text can provide a basis on which further discussions can take place. With the summit, we managed to take a first step on the challenging path ahead towards a peace process. We are currently discussing with Ukraine and key partners what the next steps could look like. And we are working to use and sustain the momentum to elaborate such concrete steps, including on the issues identified in the Bürgenstock communiqué. Firstly, any use of nuclear energy and nuclear installations must be safe, secured, safeguarded, and environmentally sound. Secondly, food security must not be weaponized in any way. attacks on merchant ships and ports and along the entire route, as well as against civilian ports and civilian port infrastructures, are unacceptable. Thirdly, all prisoners of war must be released. All deported and unlawfully displaced Ukrainian children and all other Ukrainian civilians who were unlawfully detained must be returned to Ukraine. What is already clear is that the active engagement and support of our European friends, be they the EU, its member states, or our other European partners here today, remain crucial. Switzerland welcomes the follow-up conferences on the 3 issues that President Zelensky just announced. This is exactly what we had worked and hoped for. Switzerland is ready to continue to play an active role in this process. We will particularly focus on strengthening the bridges that we have been able to build to the Global South and China. We have been getting very positive feedbacks on the summit, even from colleagues in the Global South who have so far refrained from signing the Bürgenstock communiqué. It is now essential to reach out to them, take their concerns into account, and motivate them to join the Bürgenstock communiqué. I count on your support in this outreach endeavor, and I very much look forward to continuing our close cooperation with all of you, including with Ukraine, as European partners standing together in solidarity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Viola. I'd now like to invite the Prime Minister of Denmark, Mette, to address the plenary. The floor is yours.
First of all, thank you, Keir, for your hospitality today, and I commend you for making Russia's invasion of Ukraine and its wider implications for all of us the focus of this plenary session. I don't believe Russia sees its attempts at grabbing Ukraine's territory as the final step, rather as just one step on the way to realizing its imperial dreams and ambitions. We cannot allow Putin to redraw the borders of a sovereign country by force, not in Ukraine and not anywhere else on the globe. After the invasion of Crimea in 2014, we tried as Europeans to reason with Russia, to negotiate with Russia, based on the hope that Russia would respect the rules that we play by. But they did not respect the agreements made. Our common strategy of negotiating on their terms did not work. Russia was not to be trusted then, and Russia is not to be trusted now. And so, appeasement did not work then, as appeasement will not work now. And this brings us to a very decisive moment for Europe. Supporting Ukraine against Russia's war of aggression is about our collective security and values. It is the challenge of our time. We have said for 2.5 years now that we cannot let Ukraine lose. I think we need to be open about the facts here. In order for Ukraine not to lose, Ukraine needs to win this war. There is only one winner in the gray zones, and that will be Russia. If anything, that should be our collective learning from Russia's land grab in 2014 and the following negotiations in the Normandy format. Peacetime processes are too slow for wartime tasks, and there has been too much hesitation. Even though I'm also very proud of all of us being united for such a long time, I still think there has been too much hesitation. But we still have time to make the right decisions and take the right actions. And therefore, first of all, I think we have to support Ukraine in its peace process. And there can be no discussions
about Ukraine without Ukraine. As William Allen White once said, peace without justice is tyranny. But a just peace is not a possibility when only one side is engaging in honest. Russia could end this war today. It could just pull out its troops and peace would be instant. And we must not be naive about the broader picture either. I think we have to be very aware of the confluence of interests between Russia, North Korea, and Iran, and yes, unfortunately, also China. If we allow, as Europeans, if we allow Russia to be rewarded of its aggression, of its murdering thousands of people, we create a new problematic incentive for other land grabs worldwide. Secondly, we must deliver the necessary military support for Ukraine, and I think we have to scale up our own military capabilities. To use your own words the other day, compassion is not a weapon. It will not protect Ukraine. It will not protect the kids of Ukraine. Only our common actions will. The decisions we made at NATO summit last week were, I think, important. They built the necessary bridge to Ukraine's future membership of NATO. And this includes bilateral security commitments that have been concluded since the NATO summit in Vilnius. Seen together, I think they provide certainty and a long-term perspective for the flow of support. But my main message today is that Ukraine, and thereby Europe's future, is decided right now. We need to secure all necessary deliveries to Ukraine urgently. Ukraine needs air defense, ammunition, more heavy weapons to push Russia outside Ukraine's territory and to put an end to Russia's relentless attacks. I think we have been talking too much about defending Ukraine. Now it's time to push Russia back. Seeing as today we find ourselves in the birthplace of Churchill, I will use a befitting quote from him. It is not enough that we do our best. Sometimes we have to do what's required. And in doing so, I think we need to think creatively. On the Danish side, we have worked very hard to support production of military equipment directly, internally in Ukraine. You know best what is needed at the battlefield. The equipment, to be honest with you, dear colleagues, can often be produced cheaper and more effectively in Ukraine. So by joining forces and pooling resources, we can ensure that the flow of the needed military equipment corresponds to the needs of Ukraine. Another example is, of course, the Czech initiative. We hope to deliver almost 500,000 artillery shells before the end of this war. This year, but we all know around this table that there are more available ammunition stocks that could be released to be used in Ukraine. I think all of us has to spend substantially more on our national defense. We have to find new ways inside the European Union to ensure this. And all of us have to invest substantially more in our defense industry, and we need to do it now. And we have to stop going about this task in front of us with a peacetime mindset, not in Ukraine, but the rest of us. As the old Roman saying, if you want peace, prepare for war. Finally, and let me end by this, with some few words on closer European cooperation, because this dimension also plays a crucial role in fostering greater European security. It goes for Europe and for Ukraine, and it goes for all participants at this meeting. Just one example, we cannot overstate the importance of the European Union accession negotiations started with Ukraine and Moldova. I would like to congratulate both you, Volodymyr, and Maya, for the great achievement you have already made. Thank you, Keir.
Thank you, Mette, and I look forward to building on those powerful words that we've heard from all our speakers this morning. Now we move to the family photo. You should have received an envelope which tells you your position. I think there is also
Maybe we go home. Yes, I can share with you. You are welcome. You got them?
I'll drop them.
You can pay me in vodka from that. Send it back. I don't get
Envahit l'Europe. C'est comme au Monopoly. Hein. Tu mets un pied sur ma place, Monopoly, bam. Attends, je vais te faire une petite maison, un hôtel dessus.
Hier, je suis totalement en loupe avec ce Monopoly sur le téléphone. Quand on fait tous ces voyages, tu joues à ça? Bah, je joue à ça fait 7 ans que je change de jeu à la télévision. Mais là maintenant je suis sur Monopoly et il y avait un connard. Il n'arrêtait pas d'aller sur un truc avec plein de questions. Comment ça s'appelle en fait? Chance en fait.
Toujours là, au milieu.
Et moi et lui qui était resté dans le jeu. Non, c'est un ordinateur. Enfin, tu peux jouer en jeu. C'est gratuit. Plutôt que jouer solitaire ou Scrabble. J'ai eu ça.
Take you back to the Delegate Lounge and then you can have a bit of a
Ladies and gentlemen, when we're finished, please wait. We'll escort you back that way, please. Okay? About to come out.
Oh, okay. From the main door.
Thank you.
That's been off to so if there's any head sensitivity that could be made, you don't think to have that posted on. Got a good spot? Good spot? They come out from the main door. I probably for NATO. NATO both up? That's all. This side. The other side? NATO.
Down there. Okay, let's move you quickly. You go.
A me non succede mai in Belgio.
Okay, guys, we're
Sono
ready
più
to-
abituato. Sono l'italiano più bianco del mondo. And after this, nothing. By left. There's nothing more, no? Of course, yes.
Do you know the way they're coming down?
Carl. This morning.
Carl.
You
send me from camera. You send it from camera.
I was sent one. They did such a fire alarm. I was on the shower and it starts going and I said, fuck my phone is loud this morning. You know when you leave one more alarm just to be sure and you forget about it and you're under the shower and it's like, that's too loud for my alarm. And I go out and then you start hearing, this is not an USR, this is a real fire emergency. Please leave one by one. Chinese tourists yelling in the stairs. Like so many customers in the bathroom outside. Sorry. Sir. Sir.
small. Very small.
Look at the white model.
Well, they could do it.
Congratulations to the photography guys. They really needed me to
Matt, are we getting turned back to the media centre?
Matt?
Still live. You finished. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks very much.
Ya. Ben sana şunu vereyim. Ömer ile beraber. Atmaya devam mı? Hangisi? 56. Merhaba. You okay? Merhaba abi. Ya Türk olduğunu anladım zaten de.
Merhaba.
Good, şeyden mi? Sen şeyden mi? Cumhurbaşkanı. I know.
Is it pretty clear here?
Aynen.
So EMG Emniyet. Burada mısın normalde o şeyden mi? Bakı'dan mı? Propose new official. İçeri mi giriyorsun? Yok. Medya man. Olur. Ben nereden bulacağım onu? Tamam. Tamam, ben veririm.